Hey, this is Nikki G, and I just called to tell you that I just had my prostate exam.
Oh, God.
And my doctor said everything was really good. Yeah, I was deeply touched. Can't go wrong with a potty joke.
Howdy-o, Jeepers. It's time for another Jeep Talk Show flagship episode. This is our flagship 2 episode. We have these every Thursday, and Steve-O is joining us again. Steve-O, not that you're not doing an excellent job for filling in for Natalie, but Natalie may be coming back.
Well, I'd be great. I'm sure the listeners would much rather listen to Natalie than to me.
So the question is that should we let her come back? Maybe it should be Steve-O now.
I think it'd be better reviews overall if it was Natalie.
Natalie's fun, very animated. She's a lot of fun watching her reactions and stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, so on tonight's episode in our news stories, Jeep Lunar Rover update. Did you catch that episode, Steve, where the first Lunar Rover was a Jeep?
No, I didn't, but it kind of gives a whole new meaning to the term "send it."
And Jeep's on sale, but there's a wrinkle and more. There's always a wrinkle. Anytime there's a sale, there's a wrinkle.
All right, good evening, Steve-O, coming at you from a very windy northern Illinois.
It was windy here today too. So we record this on Wednesday, and we actually I guess it was actually yesterday that we had most of the wind, and we lost power here at Studio A for a couple 3 hours. And
really?
It's unusual, and it may have been wind related, but it wasn't windy here when it went out. We were having a bit of some rain and not really thunderstorms. Again, it was just weird. I mean, things can go wrong at any time. I mean, somebody could hit a pole and knock the power out. So,
yeah, I think I've been fortunate. I've been in this house about 21 years now, and I can't remember any real significant power outages.
Yeah, it's nice. A lot of the we don't have power lines in front of our house or behind our house.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's underground, and I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know it's tougher for installation and stuff, but boy, the underground thing just makes sense, especially when there's a lot of lightning going on.
Well, it's more of a maintenance issue as well in the long term.
Yep. All right, pricing and incentives. To counter sales decline, Jeep has introduced a 0% APR financing offer for up to 36 months on select 2024 Wrangler and Gladiator models. I guess that's right. Well, this is 2025. I thought they're selling 2025s now, right? Don't they start the year model like in September?
Even earlier than that sometimes, which makes me question how many 2024s do they have left?
I would say a lot.
Yeah.
based on what we've been reporting on.
Yeah.
So 0% annual percentage rate on for 36 months. I can't remember what the duration of the Gladiator loan is. I don't think it's 36 months. Oh, actually, I'm sure it's not 36 months. It was probably like 72 or some wild ass number. I think I'm down to like $13,000 on the Gladiator though.
When I bought the Wrangler, I specifically did a 9-year just to be stupid to get the lowest rate was like 2.4%, but I knew I was going to pay it off in a year and a half. So it was one of those things. I was like, nope, this is what I'm going to do.
Can you, I mean, I'm sure when you did that, you were like 9 years. I mean,
I was shocked it was out there because they're giving me all the rates. And I was like, well, of course you always settle on the price of the Jeep, not what you want your payment to be on the vehicle.
Well, but that's important too, because you know how much you can afford.
Oh, absolutely. And I specifically did that with mine, that I was going to pay it off in a short time. I've never taken a vehicle loan to term.
Right. That's always the best way to do it. And it's funny too, because a lot of people think, well, I'm just going to go in, I'm just going to save up and save up the money and pay cash. When you go in to buy a vehicle, paying cash does not have the clout you think it may have, because not only are they making money on the sale, but they're also making money on the interest and, the financing and all the rest of that stuff. So sometimes it's best just to go in, play the game like what you did, get the best rate. And then as long as there's nothing that keeps you from paying it off, which I don't even think it's legal to keep you from paying it off, you just do it that way.
Well, that we pay cash to it triggers a whole bunch of things they have to jump through with the IRS as far as reporting.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So not that I have anything to hide.
Yeah, but why do you want?
Why do you want the hassle?
Yeah, why do you want the armed IRS looking at it?
Yeah, exactly.
So 2024, I was mentioning 2024 Wrangler and Gladiator models effective through March 2025. However, critics note that the base model prices have risen an average of 8% since 2023, pushing some buyers toward competitors like the Ford Bronco. So I think this is what a lot of businesses do, like right around Christmas or Valentine's Day or whatever, is the prices go up before they come down.
Yeah. And I don't know that it's as much as the prices that pushed people towards the Broncos. It was just something new.
Yeah.
People wanted that.
I don't think the Broncos are cheap. I don't know how they compare to the Jeeps, but that's the market they were going after. So they were probably priced similarly
and designed similarly.
I know. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. Maybe this is the first salvo at getting sales up. I don't think this is nearly enough to encourage people to change the way they think. Elections do have consequences. I think at least 50% of the public is now encouraged about how the election turned out. The other 50% may not be encouraged, but at least they know what's going on, so maybe they can make financial decisions. So we'll see if just knowing what we're going to be dealing with for the next 4 years is going to help sales. That could make a big difference. Too, if the administration, especially with this Doge thing and all the money that's being saved, it'll be interesting to see if they can do something about getting interest rates down. Because I think there's two things that I think has hurt Jeep so badly is the interest rates and also too the price. So if they can handle the price, if Jeep can bring the price down, and then our government can do something about interest rates, they may be on the road to success.
That and the tariffs, specific with automotive, because they did suspend the automotive tariffs another month.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
They just announced that today.
Is a month enough time to get people or a business that's in another country back in the United States?
The problem with the auto industry is it's so complex right now, where a part may cross the border, be assembled to another part, sent back across to be put in, right? Like gaskets, maybe. It's just, do you pay a tariff each time? I honestly think they're still trying to figure out how to tax it.
Yeah, very true. Well, they make the business do it, I guess, and then fine them if they don't do it right. It's a profit deal.
Yeah.
All right, and now we've talked a lot about safety recalls here on the show. I don't think this is something we've spoken about before. Safety recall expansion. Jeep issued an expanded recall for approximately 142,000 vehicles, including 2022 and 2023 Grand Cherokee and Wranglers, due to a potential brake booster failure that could lead to reduced braking power.
More power, Scotty.
The recall notice was issued on February 20th, 2025, with free repairs offered at dealerships. So we probably haven't reported on this. Have you ever had a brake booster go out on you while you're driving?
No. The worst thing I've had happen was I was driving my dad's 89 5-liter Mustang convertible in the winter, and I hit some dry ice on the interstate. Ended up doing a complete 360, and halfway through, I stalled it, and I lost all power. The brakes, the steering, and everything, and it fought like hell to recover it.
Yeah,
and that was pretty frightening.
And when the steering is manual and the brakes are manual and all that stuff is manual, they don't work nearly as good as the ones that were designed without power.
No, yeah, it was quite an eye-opening experience. It's one of those things when you're driving and you're screwing around and something happens, you kind of expect it. This was one of those. I was just pulling onto the interstate, and next thing I know, I'm looking at the car behind me through the windshield as I'm completely going around, and yeah, it's not fun.
I was, I think the XJ had over 200,000 miles on it, and also too for the brake booster. And I was driving down I-10 coming home from work, and I heard a whistling noise, and everything seemed to be doing okay. I thought, well, maybe I've got a vacuum leak. I did, but maybe I have a vacuum leak. It didn't seem to cause any issues with the motor. So I'm traveling along. And, on I-10, you basically go backwards if you don't keep up,
pace,
keep that gap small, although because people would be pulling in front of you. And then I had to brake, and it was like, oh, holy shit. This isn't braking like it used to. And I was like, push harder, Captain, push harder.
Yeah. Please stop.
And it worked out fine. But then I started leaving a gap, and it works fine without the brake booster. It just doesn't work as good, and it takes a little bit of more time for you to press on it. And it wasn't that big a deal. I mean, I replaced the booster, and it was fine. But boy, I can quite easily see what these people would be involved in. Now, they do drive-by-wire nowadays, which was illegal for the longest time. Can you imagine brake-by-wire? So, and you have an electronics failure? I mean, I don't know if that's even a thing, but instead of having that mechanical connection to a system that is all mechanical and goes to your brakes and helps boost the brakes, if it was electrical, and then you're pressing on a pedal that senses how much pressure you're putting on it and applies the reasonable amount of clamping force.
I think it would depend where the failure is, because if it's by wire, right, it might not necessarily be all four wheels at the same time.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Instead of rear-ending someone, you're going to sideswipe someone. I mean, it could be interesting. Yeah,
my wife's TJ, the front calipers on one side had a tendency to not lock up, but be more engaged than the other side. And braking hard whenever you're not braking at the same amount on both sides is interesting.
My WJ had a problem with the left front caliper, driver front caliper seizing, and it happened multiple times. It was very irritating.
I just stomped the shit out of it and to make it free up, and then it would act right. So, yeah, I don't know. So, Jeeps, what are you going to do?
Pay 8% more for them.
Yep. All right. So global expansion. Jeep is expanding into India with a partnership with Soda. I'm going to say, or that's Skoda, Skoda. Sounds like
I'll go with Skoda.
Sounds very fizzy and refreshing. Planning to launch an affordable Wrangler variant by late 2025. What the shit? We need a Wrangler, a very affordable Wrangler variant here. Damn it.
I think a Mahindra would be more suited to the Indian market.
They should have embraced. I think Stellantis, Fiat, whoever should have embraced the Mahindra. I think that would be a great idea, and they could have competed with the side-by-side market.
Yeah, I just don't see India being a big Jeep market, just from what I've seen.
So apparently, Tesla sees it as a big market for cars, for Tesla cars, because they're building a gigafactory there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they're planning, and I think I think they do this because it saves shipping and also to any tariffs. If it's made in that country, then they don't have to worry about tariffs.
Well, to be fair, my knowledge of India comes from Slumdog Millionaire.
It's actually a good movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're going to be doing expansion to India, which shouldn't hurt them on tariffs, at least not U.S. tariffs, because they'll be making them right there, or I would assume making them right there in India. Maybe not.
Any growth is positive, right, for a company. Let's face it, China was a big failure, and that was an expensive failure from what I understand when they pulled out of there because of the intellectual property issues. Mm-hmm. So getting in somewhere else is only going to help. Yeah.
So this move targets the growing SUV market in Asia with initial production of about 15,000 units annually.
Boy, that's not a lot.
No, it's not. Got to start someplace though, and I guess it's cheaper to lose money on 15,000 than it is to lose money on 300,000.
For sure. But it's just a lot of cost involved in producing the only 15,000.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if you've ever worked with people in another country, especially whenever they're multiple hours. Their workday is multiple hours away from your workday. But that can be very frustrating. You're doing work during the day. Now you're doing work during your night and all kinds of crap.
Well, I work in a multinational conglomerate where it's based out of Germany, especially the IT team, and they always seem to be on holiday whenever I need something.
So I remember we had a guy on xjtalk.com down in New Zealand, and they get a month off.
That's how a lot of Europe is.
And I mean, it's really neat, but I don't know. I wonder if it's like being a teacher. You can choose to get paid all year long, or you can you just get paid, the 9 months that and not the 3 months that so I could see how that might be. I mean, you can work anything out, but if you were going from a traditional job where you work all the time to one where you're off for several months at a go, that would be a very interesting thing. If you could make enough money and of course teachers don't make enough money, but if you could make enough money working 9 months out of the year and taking 3 off, boy, as long as you could do it during wheeling season, that'd be pretty cool.
But you know what? It's a lot of fun too, though. So I'm married to a teacher, full disclosure. So she gets time off for 3 months. So we don't have to sync our vacations up during the summertime because I just take a week and she's there.
Right.
We don't have to fight for it. Right. So it works out. Now I know people that are couples that are teachers, they go on 2.5 month adventures with a camper. Now that's awesome.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. Okay. So, this is kind of interesting, and I'm going to do a prediction. This is not in the story, but I'm going to give you a prediction. Performance enhancements. The 2025 Wrangler Rubicon 392 final edition was unveiled, limited to 3,700 units. What is that? $3.7 million? Featuring a supercharged 6.4 V8 with 470 horsepower and upgraded off-road gear, priced at $93,000. It's a collector's item with pre-orders selling out in under a week.
Yeah.
My prediction is bullshit. This is not the last year of the 392.
If they can make money on it, they're going to do it.
I can't believe they've only made 3,700 units. I think the next thing we're going to hear is they're going to do a special run of, X more. Because I mean, if you've sold out 3,700s, with sales down, you're an idiot. And actually all the idiots are gone now with one exception, especially the former president of Stellantis. So, I'm hoping that the people in charge now is like, hey, should we make more money? Yeah, money? Let's do that.
That's what it's going to come down to, right? It's demand. It's basic economics. If the demand's there, you create the supply.
We complain about the price on Wranglers, but yet, they have pre-sold 3,700, nearly $100,000 Jeeps.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so the money's there. You just got to figure out how to pry it out of somebody's wallet.
I just wish I could justify it. I just can't pull the trigger on it.
Oh, good Lord, no! Oh, my gosh, I mean, I think it'd be fun, but even if you get one, Bill has one, one of the members of the Jeep Talk Show team, and he has found that there's certain things that you can and can't do. Modifications you can and can't make. I mean, specialized, you have to have specialty skid systems because the 392, it hangs down a little further. Exhaust is a little different. I mean, it's all, you can do it all. It's not that big. I mean, it's not that big a deal, but it's not just a plug and play situation. You have to have specialized things from the aftermarket.
Yeah, which is additional costs because they're not producing as much either.
Right. So, Steve, I think you and I actually talked about this on our Discord server, which you guys can join. Just go to xjtalk.com/contact, and you can get the invite to our Discord server and join. And man, we talk about all kinds of things, including Jeeps.
Oh, yeah, we do.
So I did not know this until it was brought up in a recent Roundtable episode. Again, Roundtable is recorded on Tuesday and published on Wednesday. That if you have the start-stop function, we all hate it, but if you have that start-stop function and you have disabled it, like using I think there's mechanical ways, electric ways that you can do it. I just got the Taser Mini and turned it off. Or actually, I shouldn't say turned it off. I set it so that it will stay where it was last set. So if you turn it off, whenever you start the engine back up, it'll stay off. I did not know that the auxiliary battery is not charged if you have the start stop off. I just didn't, I had no idea that they would go through that level of detail to not charge a battery that's in in the chain.
Yeah, but I don't turn mine off that off. I'll turn it off once in a while. But I had an issue where my Jeep sat for 2 weeks because it's not a daily driver right now, and I don't drive it in the winter in Chicago with all the salt crap on the road.
Right.
And I got in and it told me my auxiliary switches, which on the some models they have the programmed switches that they're pre-wired. There's 4 switches, 10 amps, I think, and 5 amps, and you can put whatever accessories you want on them.
I think there's a 40, a 30, and a couple of 15s.
And there's a dedicated, whatever they are. And it came out and told me that it said they're not available. Battery's charging. I'm like, what the hell is this?
But I don't think that's the aux battery. That's the main battery.
Could be. It's all part of the same system, though, where it's just...
Well, apparently not.
Itself.
Apparently not, because the main battery on my Gladiator is getting charged. But the aux battery apparently wasn't, because after the roundtable that I heard about this, I went, I better turn that start-stop back on to automatic, where it'll turn on and off with the switch. And the start-stop is still not available. I've driven it several times. My wife drove it over to her mom's house, which I think is about a 40-minute drive. And that wasn't enough to charge the battery. So the aux battery may be dead in my Gladiator. The good news is I had no idea.
Oh, you're on your original?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that thing's toast, man. It's 2025. Most I got out of mine was 2 years.
That's what I read.
I'm on my second one.
That's what I read, and that's what we're getting ready to report right here. So the ESS system reliance on dual batteries and sensitive charge thresholds seems to be overly complex for a free feature many owners dislike. Stellantis claims that this is normal behavior. Disabling ESS to protect the battery feels convenient, especially when the batteries fail prematurely, for example, within 2 years on new vehicles. The lack of transparency about battery specs and the push to sell replacements rather than address the root cause, alternator output, IBS reliability, suggest a profit-driven approach. Owners in colder climates or with low mileage report issues, more often hinting at a possible design shortcoming in the battery sizing or charging algorithms. So this is like what you were talking about, Now you're sitting for 2 weeks actually makes sense for the main battery, the charge going down on the main battery. But I don't think anything runs off of the auxiliary battery except for the starter. And if I'm right, I think it's a separate starter. I think it has 2 starters.
The biggest problem is where they put the damn thing.
Yep.
So if you're going to do it on your own, 2 things you need. And you have to look it up, and I don't have it in front of me. I apologize, but it's a reverse Torx, like a socket, because the posts have to come out of that auxiliary battery. And you need I forget what they're called, but it's like a Torx, but a reverse. So it's a female Torx, right? So you need that socket adapter because you have to take the posts out because they don't sell the posts on the replacement battery. So you have to swap them over. And there's 2 ways to get to this battery. You either pull out the power distribution box from the engine compartment and go digging for it, which I don't like playing with those main harnesses if I don't have to.
It's a bad idea. Mess with wiring because you can damage it, even if you're really careful. Yeah.
The other option is you go through the fender, the passenger side fender, which Larry, Jeep Talk Show member, he did it both ways. And he said he will never go through the power distribution box again. He will go in through the fender. Now, if you're going to go through the fender, buy some fender clips ahead of time because you're going to pop some off and break them.
Right.
Because I've done it, trust me.
I don't know that I'm going to do anything with this battery. I think I'll just turn the start stop off and continue on. I didn't know there was any issue until I heard somebody in the roundtable. It was probably Henderson that mentioned it. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. I know that there has been some talk about a dual battery setup so that you can actually raise the mount up so the batteries are side by side, and then and actually have 2 full size batteries.
Genesis Off-Road makes it. I've been perusing it. It's still a little pricey. It's one of those. Am I going to do more damage to the electrical system because it's not designed for that? This system in there, you got to realize it's very particular. Like I said, the whole thing where it turned off my auxiliary switches just because of battery voltage. I was like, okay, never
You
knew that was
haven't,
possible.
but you haven't had any more problems since you drove, basically charged the battery up.
Yeah, I spent the weekend putting just some hours, I guess maybe 2 hours on it, and it seems to be right. But then again, it's been parked again for a week. So
Have you thought about
like
putting a
that.
trickle charger on it?
I have, but I know spring's coming, and I know that I'm going to be putting some more time into it. So I try to drive it at least once every other week or so. But once summer hits, man, those doors come off. I'm driving it daily all the time. So I park in a nice gated lot at work with security, and I park it under a camera right outside my office window. So I'm all good with that.
So it looks like the GenesisOffroad.com 2020 plus gas Gladiator Gen 3 dual battery system, $699.
And that doesn't include the batteries.
Right. Do you have to replace both batteries?
Yes. Well, you're taking the auxiliary battery out. It comes out completely, and then you're buying 2 different batteries that you're putting in there.
Probably a fitment issue.
Well, they're not as big as the main battery, but they're 2 smaller ones that equal the power.
Right.
So, and it's more of what you're paying for is the electronics in there that's supposed to be compatible with the whole system.
Right. I don't know. I have to think about that. It might just be easier to get a auxiliary battery and just replace that. Although, again, I have to. Maybe this will be a good question for the roundtable when Henderson and some other people are on. Larry's on because he's messed with it about what's the best way to go. Also, too, I know that there's a way that there's wiring situations that you can either remove the auxiliary battery altogether, or is it where you can wire it in and then it.
Yeah, and there's a fuse you have to pull out of the box. The specific one, don't quote me on this. I think it's 42. That's what's sticking in my head.
Right.
Maybe that's because of the guy that gets Hitchhiker's Galaxy.
That's what I was thinking. they did that. The engineers did that on purpose.
But interesting enough, Genesis makes another thing where it's just a bracket. What it does is it lowers the power distribution box down into where the auxiliary battery goes, and then that auxiliary battery rotates 90 degrees and sits on top of the power distribution box. So that's a different option you can do.
God,
but to me,
some of the electrical stuff.
Yeah, that makes me nervous because there's like 3 or 4 main wiring harnesses in the power distribution box. That's the
I'm not so worried about shorting something out. I'm just worried about because electrical issues are a real pain in the ass to find and fix, and you got to be really careful when you're messing with that stuff.
They're hard to find in a 98 Cherokee, let alone a 2019 JL.
Right.
Yeah.
From the mind of Nikki G.
Hey, this is Nikki G, and I just called to tell you that I just had my prostate exam.
Oh, God.
Yeah, my doctor said everything was really good. Yeah, I was deeply touched. Can't go wrong with a potty joke. Let's see if we can do that. 3 golf clubs walked into a bar. The putter ordered a beer. The wedge ordered a tequila. And the third one said, "Nothing for me, I'm the driver." That's it. All right, boys and girls, I'll chat you later and have a good one. Bye.
All right, I kind of like that one.
Yeah, he could have used that driver joke with the prostate exam too, right?
Oh, boy.
You've heard the joke, right? Where the guy's doing the prostate exam, getting prostate exam, and the doctor says, "Okay, Bob, take it easy, stay calm, don't get an erection." And
I get more worried.
And the guy says, "My name is Ralph." He goes, "Yeah, I was talking to myself."
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I get more worried when they start quoting Animal House. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
All right, coming up tomorrow, Brian Myers with JCR Off-Road, JCRoffroad.com. It's they make stuff for all kinds of Jeeps, but they started off with XJs. So I know JCRoffroad.com from way back when I was looking for stuff for the XJ, and we actually have a JCR Off-Road winch bumper on the wife's TJ, and JCR Off-Road sliders on the TJ. So great stuff, very well built. They're doing really, really well the business, and I think they're going into a much larger facility. And it was just really fun. I've known Brian and his partner for a long time, but I don't think I've ever spoken to them. Actually, I did an interview with the other one when they were doing stuff. Oh damn, I'm brain farting on the company. They started another company that only does Toyota stuff now. But anyway, I'd never spoken with Brian before, and Brian was a very interesting gentleman and a pleasure to talk to. And you can experience that conversation every Friday, or at least with Brian this coming Friday.
Well, looking at it, looks like they do TJs, LJs, JKs, JLs.
Still, they do the XJs too.
MJs.
Yep.
Comanches.
Absolutely.
Cherokee. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to be interested in hearing this one.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And Brian's getting ready to start him. He may have already started a podcast now. That it's not a commercial for JCR Off-Road. He's actually going to be talking about running business and how all the type things that they had to go through to figure out how to make things happen on time and cheaply, and just the best way of doing things. I think it's called lean. Is the method, the way that they do it. So.
Oh, they have traction boards advertised on the Nissan truck.
All right, did this Jeep Talk Show episode get your engine roaring? Show us some love by dropping a 5-star rating and a blazing review on your go-to podcast platform. It's your way to help us expand the Jeep family. Keep the adventure rolling by hitting follow on social media and joining our newsletter crew for the hottest Jeep updates and unmissable events. Got a burning question or a wild idea for our next episode? Fire it over to us at xjtalk.com/contact. That's really the place to go for all the ways to reach out to us or join our Discord server or send us an email, etc. So thanks for cruising with us, and get ready for more thrilling journeys ahead. Steve, thanks a lot for filling in.
Absolutely.
Broadcasting since 2010.
You're my friend. You're my new friend.